have this little Hamilton that I picked up at one of those buy sell gold stores, and I think it is so pretty, and it's not running very good. I will show you those results. In case anyone is curious about what these readings mean, the rate is how many seconds off a day it is. The amplitude is how much power is getting down to it. The beat error is the difference in between the balance wheel's clockwise and counterclockwise swings. So if it is off enough, the watch won't even be self-starting. So without further ado and me just rambling on, I'm going to hopefully service this beautiful Hamilton today and get it running a little bit better. There it is. Beautiful, beautiful piece. Let's start by taking off this strap. Oh my, it's dirty. Get rid of this. Okay. Okay. You little bugger. Did you put it in here? See if you still have your uses. Ooh, you are so stuck on. Oh. Yeah. If that's any indication that this needs a service, I don't know what it is. Okay, let's see. How do we... Okay. That right there looks suspicious. I mean, it looks like someone was really trying to get this open. All right, let's see what I can do. Someone's had some troubles with this in the past. Okay, then there's also this at the top. So is it front loaded? Okay, let's try the top. Okay, top came off easy. Ooh, that's dirty. Look at that, that's gross. Okay, I actually didn't think that was gonna work. Whew. Okay, I just wanna set this, okay, I don't wanna set it down, but that's so pretty. Not running very well, as you can see. Check this out. I love looking at the service dates of these things. Look at all that. It's wonderful. Okay, that needs a cleaning like something fierce. Put that off to the side and let's get these hands off. Get these fragile hands into a safe spot. So, how am I supposed to let down the power here? Dial screws off. Gotta get these little guys out of here and then over into my tray. You know, I've seen a lot of people who just lay out all their components out on the table, which is totally fine, but for me, it has to go right into the tray because I'm a clumsy person and things will get lost. Okay, gotta let down this power, and I'm not really sure the best way to go about this, but I'm gonna try holding the crown and slowly unwinding it. Oh, no.
Okay, that was not the ideal way to let down power. But it happened.
I think that there's another way that you can do it by holding this screw here to hold in the power and just slowly but I've never done that before. I will try it next time. All right, hopefully we're okay. And let's move on. I need this a little bit closer. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Taking out this balance wheel is always a little bit tricky because it is by far the most delicate and fragile piece in a watch movement. And if you mess up that hairspring, you're in for a world of trouble. I just love spinning that thing. I love this screwdriver set. It's just so smooth and the heads are so sharp. Speaking of which, if anyone out there is wanting to get into watch repair, I highly, highly suggest it. It is so rewarding and challenging. And if you like stuff like that, then it's right up your alley. Also, just fixing something that's broken, figuring out how it works, really amazing feeling. I would like to talk for a second about tools because it is important to have good tools if you're going into this hobby. And Sutcliffe Hansen has some really great starter kits over there. Their stuff is good and I would suggest it to anyone. Most of the tools that I'm using here are from Sutcliffe Hansen. Actually, pretty much all of the tools. So, if that is something that you would be interested in, please start out with good tweezers at the very least. Nothing is going to make you want to give up more than having bad tools in this hobby. We are starting right here. Why don't I bring that closer and help myself out a little bit? Sometimes while working on watches, I like to make up a story of who I thought might have owned the watch previously and who bought it new. And I'm gonna say this one belonged to a man named Arthur. Now, Arthur worked at GM, yes, GM, and he built carburetors, more specifically adjusting idle circuits for carburetors. And he worked on an assembly line. You do the same thing over and over again all day. Each project you had just a few seconds to complete it, so he had to be fast. Arthur dare not wear this watch at work. He wore it out to dinner parties with his wife and special occasions. Sometimes he'd even put it on after a long day at work and wear it for a few hours, just admiring the shiny indices and domed crystal. Helen, his wife, had given it to him for their second wedding anniversary. He'd always admired watches but never really worn one previously before this one because he always worked really hard in physical jobs and it just wasn't in the books for him. But man, did he love this watch. Oh my goodness. Forgot to take off the canyon pinion, which makes this whole process a little bit more difficult. When it was time to move along his beloved Hamilton, he gave it to his eldest daughter, Joyce. He had no sons, but his eldest daughter always really liked jewelry, gold, diamonds of the sort. So he passed along to her, and though she wasn't really much of a watch person, she kept it for a while and would be reminded of him every time she would open up her jewelry box and see her father's Hamilton sitting there. This little guy can be hard to remove sometimes. So I got my little handy tools. My little canyon pinion remover. It sometimes works and sometimes it does not. Oh my. Whew. That's just concerning that it was on there so tight. Okay, here comes the wheel. Need to make sure this isn't bent in any shape or form. It looks pretty good. It's pretty dirty though. One day Joyce was going through all of her gold and silver and decided she needed to move some of it along, and with that was this beautiful, beautiful watch, to which she brought it to a little buy-sell gold and silver store, to which she let go of it, and to where I found it. It's funny that I've gotten into this hobby because I'm notoriously known for being a very clumsy person. I'm always losing pieces. My clumsiness is not stopping me. And maybe I will hone my skills in and be less clumsy. It's an interesting little jewel here. Looks like it might be pressure fit on. I'm sure we'll find out later. I am trying to learn to inspect as I go, and one of the things I have noticed is that it's quite dirty. Open this up and see if we need to start measuring. It popped. My safety glasses out. I feel like it's a flyer. Or it could be. Okay. Can't be too careful. Right, let's see here. Well, I'm gonna measure to see if I have a new one in my stock for this. It's good practice to use new mainsprings. All right, disassembly is complete, went relatively smooth. I'm going to clean, see about a new mainspring. So far, so good. Whilst I'm over here just cleaning these filthy gears, screws, pinions, bridges, springs, a barrel, plate, and a fork, I wanted to say thank you to my Patreon supporters. It takes a lot of time to make these videos, like a lot of time, so the support really does help me out. It's an expensive hobby, and I find myself always needing all kinds of parts and components to keep going. So, thank you so much. Okay, it looks a little bit small, to be honest, but I'm gonna do it. And if it doesn't, then we'll just have to either use that old one or reorder. Probably just reorder. Let's see. Oh no. Aha! Worries. Right, there we have it. Let's get going. Not much. Nice. I bet you thought that's all I had of Arthur. Well, no, I have more. Arthur would often look at his Hamilton and consider changing jobs to study horology, but he never did because he didn't think he'd have the patience for such small parts. Yes, he loved mechanics and working with vehicles, but he always thought to himself, I'm a man of bigger tools, I think. Plus, this little Hamilton was really his only watch, a prize watch that he loved, and he actually didn't need any others. And oh man, did he take care of it too. He took it in to get services at a place he trusted in Charlotte, New York. And he took it in often. Arthur was always so diligent that it ran well. He took good care of his things and the people in his life. He was a soft-spoken man with many dreams, but none he ever spoke about. Well, besides a small dream to be able to sip an alcoholic beverage out of a fresh coconut. You know, when they poke a hole in a coconut at those fancy restaurants or resorts and pour rum or some kind of island punch in it, then give you a straw. That was a dream of his, and you should have seen his face when he finally got his island rum coconut with an umbrella, green benny straw, and all. Arthur loved his family, he worked hard, and he dreamed big. But that's only where this watch began, not where it ends. It still has a lot to see, places to go, and people to meet. If Arthur was a real man, I imagine we would have gotten along just splendidly, 'cause he seems pretty cool. I would say that having a watch that you've got a lot of problems with and trying to figure it out and figure it out in the end is probably more, you feel more accomplished by the end of it because you got it there, opposed to something that's a little bit more simple. My friend and I have had a lot of complications with these vintage watches lately, which is to be expected, honestly. We're opening up old watches that aren't running or running really badly, so something's the matter with them. And it's sometimes nice to have something a little bit more simple, though. There it is. I do believe it's seated. My friend Morgan also has a watch repair YouTube channel. It's called Fine Winding. It will be in the description below if anyone wants to go and check out his channel over there. It's good to have support in each other. You know, it's a crazy, challenging hobby at times, so we try to encourage each other and help each other out find pieces, tips and tricks. Let's see if there's any power in here before we go any further. Yep. You silly. Oh. Wish me luck. It's okay, I don't need it. Oh no, now that I've said that. Good, good. Things are going splendidly. So far, so good. Need a little bit of grease there. Okay, we have one more piece to put in before we oil. Here we go. Looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and put this screw in, see how she's running. It looks pretty healthy. Of course, we still have to oil everything. Let's see what she says. It is a huge improvement, I'd say. I hate adjusting beater. Let's see if we can get that amplitude up though. So yeah, I'm gonna go oil things under the microscope now. I love this part. Okay, so I took off the balance wheel, and in order to adjust the bead error, you have to get your screwdriver in that tiny little slit in the collet and move it almost, I mean, you can't even really tell sometimes that you're moving it. You have to be so delicate and move it so little for that bead error to be adjusted. And so I did it pretty good here, but then I need to come back and do it again. This always stresses me out though, because that hairspring, if you bump it even a little bit, yeah, you know, I talk about hairspring problems often. So I was really happy with the results. Okay, let's get going. I love this part. I don't know why. It's just so fun for me. Boop, just there. Just there, right there. And there. And there. Okay. Whoa, way too much. Hold on. Prodigo is a savior. Okay, this seems like it's pressure fit on, so I spent some time trying to lightly get it off, and I found out after a little bit of time that that's just not pressure fit on, so I'm gonna look it up later and attack this balance. So I have to take it apart because I have to oil that jewel right at the bottom, right there. So I have to take it completely apart. And this screw is impossibly small and there's no leverage to get it. So it can be very difficult. Sometimes I put in Rodico like this in order to stable it while I'm going at it because you really don't want to mess up that little hairspring. And I'm just gonna fast forward a little bit while I struggle with slowly turning. And then here's the other problem I had. How do I get this off? Usually there's screws. There's not screws. So I looked up the service manual and it told me to use the appropriate size screwdriver. And I found one. So here we go. Let's see if this works. Look at that. I actually like that a lot more than the screws. Okay, oil it. I've learned from Mark Lovick that if you put this off to the side right here, so it doesn't squish this when you put it on top, because you want to get everything aligned up so that oil doesn't get displaced. So you kind of set it on top of that little ring right there to hold it up while you maneuver everything. And then once it's in place, then you can push the two jewels together. And although it seemed like it went well right there, I did take it apart and double check. And it was fine, so I did it again. And then screw this back on. I felt like it was a little loose here, so I went in again to try and make sure it was tight. I hope I didn't over tighten it. I don't think I did. You have to be so gentle with these because you can ruin it so easy. They're so tiny. Okay, now to put the balance wheel back on. And this part's a little bit tricky. You've got to get the hairspring stud into that little hole and get everything lined up perfectly. And you also have to put the hairspring into the hairspring regulator pins. And I evolved. I used a bigger screwdriver, which is a lot more helpful. Of course, I forgot to put this in before tightening it, so I had a little bit of trouble trying to get that in there, but I eventually did. That actually adjusts the rate. Okay, so I looked at the service manual, and obviously this is not pressure fit. There's screws. I should have just looked on the other side to see if there were screws, which there is. So, take those out real fast. They were impossibly tight on. I don't know why they were so tight. I felt like I was going to slip. But alas, it comes out. Okay, re-oil. I hope that's not too much. Okay, on we go. Hold that in place while I put the screws down while I flip it over. And good. That's pretty lined up. Let's get these back in. Not so difficult. I weirdly prefer this over shock springs. This part at least, not the other one. Okay, get a little bit of oil on here. A little bit more. It's hard to see with my microscope what is going on. But there. And it's running so nicely. Look at that. Looks healthy. Here is what has happened. I spent a long time figuring out things and oiling things, and it was quite enjoyable. Everything seems to be running quite well, except the mainspring keeps slipping. I cannot wind it fully. So obviously something's not right. I'm gonna take this apart and go look. I'll show you how it keeps slipping, which has actually never happened to me before, but so I can't get hardly any wind at all, so I really don't know what the amplitude actually is. So I'm gonna let this down real quick. It is getting quite late in the day. I'm gonna have to order a new mainspring to get this job done. All right, I think I'm gonna order a new mainspring and then I'll get back to you. Okay. To catch us all up here, I had ordered a new mainspring, but the reasons for that is that the end of it was not the same as a normal mainspring. It had like a hook at the very end, so it would grab onto the barrel lid. So I spent some time trying to find a new mainspring, and I actually found one for this exact movement. And I just, you know, I did try testing it and putting it back in, and then running it, and the amplitude was just not super great. I couldn't get it any higher, and I'm hoping that this new mainspring is going to help with that. I did end up re-cleaning the pallet fork because I had seen under magnification that it was over-oiled on accident. Yeah, so I cleaned that, and it actually made the amplitude go up by 20. 20! Which is quite significant. I'm just trying to align the hole here. Make sure it goes in correctly to the best of my abilities. Okay, here we have it, right on top. Ah, wonderful. And quite easy. I really hope that this makes a difference. Ordered a new mainspring to replace a perfectly fine mainspring. No, I don't think that that one's perfectly fine. It is bent out of shape. It's not shapen right. See, now that just looks so much better. Okay, I hope I got this in right. If not, we're gonna see here soon. Of course, now I'm going to have to re-oil. Right. Going to put on my time grapher. See what we've got. Well, let me wind it up fully and see where we're at. The amplitude should be higher, but it is at 247 at the moment. And I think I might just let it be. Vintage watches are okay in that range. Obviously, I would like it to be higher, but it's not bad. Okay, I'm going to clean up this case a little bit and also pay a little bit of attention to the dial. Okay, I already did throw this into the ultrasonic cleaner, but I'm just going to make sure there's nothing else I can get off. Which seems to be okay on this side. Got some crusties over here. I'm going to take a polishing cloth to this just lightly. Very, very lightly. We don't want to take off any of that beautiful gold plate. So just to get some of the patina off. Really is such a nice watch. I am tempted to keep it, but alas, I cannot keep every watch that I service. I just can't keep them all. Now, restoring something really is quite an amazing thing to do. I'm going to do just a little bit of polywatch on this crystal just to give it a little extra shine. It's really looking good already, but I want to see what I can do to make it shine even more. Come on. You've lasted me a long time. Ah, yes, good. You know, whilst I'm polishing these, I usually fast forward or skip over how long it takes, but when you're using polywash and sanding down a crystal, it does take some time. It does. Now for this dial. My cat likes these things. She really likes Q-tips, so anytime a Q-tip comes out when I'm doing this, she's there. Things have gone missing that way. Okay. Let's see if we can just very gently clean this up. Oh, look at that. Right away already. Although I'm a little bit disappointed about not being able to get that amplitude up, I tried for a really long time and I did a lot of troubleshooting. I checked all the things that you should check and I just couldn't figure it out. I spent hours on this thing just trying to get that amplitude a little bit higher. But I mean, all said and done, it's not horrible. It's at an acceptable range. I just really want to be one of those watchmakers that can figure this stuff out. But then again, I have to give myself a little bit of grace because I am still very new at this hobby. I spend more time editing the videos than actually working on watches. Okay, I've heard horror stories with messing up dials from scrubbing too hard. So I really would not want to do that. Wow, look at that shining up so nicely though. Shiny? Very nice and shiny. Dog, thank you. Let's see. No, you do not do that. No, 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 no. Ah. How am I supposed to get it into that little hole? I guess that's how. Okay, well. So I have to be even more gentle. It is stunning. I'm put it back into the case now. I might need this in first. And then that needs to drop into it. Okay, I'm just gonna show you what I'm doing real quick. So this, I don't know if you can tell, but it has to go right into this slot of the crown. He has to go slide right in there. So it has to be all lined up perfectly for this to actually go in and come out. Just funny how it was all lined up perfectly when I took it out. Here we go. There we go. Sorry I couldn't show you on camera. That was a little difficult to do. And this all works real quick. It's perfect. Wow. That's quite a beautiful watch, I'd say. Where did the strap for it go? Here you are. All right. I'm gonna run this in the ultrasonic cleaner one more time and make sure that I'm getting off all the gunk. Because, you know, I really do like these old stretch bracelets. Well, I don't have very much arm hair for it to get caught in, but I know that that's a big problem for them. Anyways, as I've said before, changing out bracelets. Ew, you are dirty. Anyways, as I said before, changing out bracelets I feel like is one of the best ways that you can modify your own watch. When I get a new watch, that's one of the things that I like to do first is change out bracelets, straps, whatever. See what I like the most. So I will show you pictures of the end result. Wow, that's so pretty! So nice. I hope Arthur really likes what I did with this watch. I tried hard for it, and I think the end result is beautiful. It's such a pretty watch. So here you are, Arthur, restored. And then I'm going to put it on my eBay in case anyone wanted to take this thing home. Thank you for joining me today. My name's Kateri. This is The Secondhand, and it was a fun little service. Okay,